Good morning and welcome to Emerson, especially to today's visitors here in person and those online. Unitarian Universalism is unambiguously, unapologetically progressive. This congregation affirms the inherent worth and dignity of all people through anti-racism, anti-oppression, supporting the LGBTQIA+ community, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues as the world calls us to side with love. We seek to build beloved community, not only here, but in our surrounding area. And we bring a spirit of joy to it all. It is so good to be together this morning. Now we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of our shared Unitarian Universalism faith. Cora Jean-Pierre is going to join me and will light the chalice. As we light this flame of hope, may our congregation become a kaleidoscope of souls and people. In the presence of this flame, in me, in you, in us, is an invitation to sit at the table. May we tend our soul fire through these challenging and trying times to open the hearts and minds of all who enter our doors. Thank you. And now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation: we need not think alike to love alike. Let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around to offer greetings, and for those online, please use the chat to introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Christina Branum-Martin, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am so honored to be your minister. Our opening words today are shared by Leslie and I. These are by Reverend Joan Javier Duval. You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week, or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth,
you are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful,
you are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside, or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort,
you are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises,
you are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment,
you are beloved, and you are welcome here.
In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together.
Let us join in singing, rise in body or spirit, or maybe even with a smile. Some of you have had a cold recently, and I understand that some cannot sing. So join in any way you can. This is number 1 in the hymnal if you need the music. Otherwise, the lyrics will be up here. For the matters of the heart, and Leslie will help me with putting stones in the water. Those stones are heavy. They have weight, like the things that we carry in our heart at times. And they are smooth. And sometimes life is joyful and smooth, and we are grateful for those times. The water that the stones go in will gather them with ease. Each week you are invited as you come into this space to put your matters of your heart in this book for us to share. And you can always email us during the week to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org. If you are at home, we invite you at this time to each week recreate this, perhaps with a bowl of water or a stone or a flower placed in the water. We begin each week with 3 stones that we place. The first is in honor of the Cherokee and the Muskogee nations who lived on this land before we came. The second is for those who we recognize and honor and remember, for those who were enslaved in this land and labored for years. And for all of those hurting in current conflicts and war across this land. Within our community, I have two things that have been shared thus far. The first is from March Price, who I know is online. I am happy to relay that my beloved husband, James Huey, has been discharged from Wellstar Kennestone Hospital and continues to recover at home with the assistance of some home health care. Jim and I are grateful for the words and good wishes that we have received from so many of you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. The other shared is from Maria Benitez. Please keep me in your thoughts. On September 5th, in 2 weeks, I will have knee replacement. Please send me positive thoughts, and we will reach out to see how we can assist. Thank you. Perhaps there are things that are in your heart that you haven't shared, and maybe sharing them in a big crowd is just not where you're at yet. Please know that I am available, and our pastoral care associates are available to meet if you need some more support. In thankful awareness, let us share the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. These words are printed in your order of service. May we all be shielded with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be. Our own Mark Cobb is going to share with us about our partner for Share the Basket this month.
Hey, good morning. Unitarian Universalism is a faith often referred to as one of deeds, not creeds. How we show up in the world is how we live our faith. One way to do that is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. During the month of August, we're supporting The Extension. Located in Marietta, The Extension serves adults successfully dealing with substance use challenges and who are experiencing homelessness in Cobb County. I'm Mark Cobb, and I serve the congregation as your ministry associate for spiritual practice and care. So if there's some spiritual practice you'd like to see more of here that you'd like to learn or teach, talk to me. We'll try to set it up. One of my favorite spiritual practices is drum circling. And last year, this congregation took up a collection for the Extension. I pitched to the folks at the Extension on my idea of doing a drum circle there. They said yes. They handed the money over to me to buy a bunch of instruments. So I spent the $800 on drums and bells and shakers. And now every Friday we get together for an hour and just have a little recess. It's a good time. I just go to the men's campus. I don't know much about the women's, but those guys are working hard. Most of them work physical labor type jobs all day. Then they've got classes. They do the chores to keep the place up. And they only had this one slot that the drum circle would even fit because their schedule is so full. So I try not to push them too hard. I think of it as just like a fun time and a recess. And over the almost a year I've spent going there, I realize that every time I see somebody I recognize, that means they've made it another week, because sometimes people don't make it all the way through the program. So it's just really a blessing to see people fighting this battle for themselves and their families, and I'm just proud to come in and try to give them a little boost. Anyway, I'd love to have any of you come with us on a Friday night. Let me know if you'd like to come. I'll give you the details. We are every Friday night, 8 to 9 o'clock. We're just out there having a good time. So we'd love to have you join us. I know the men would love to have some guests. All right, so I hope you'll support the extension. It's a really positive place, saving lives. Thank you. Oh, wait, I have to read another thing. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see your order of service for other ways to give. For those online, please go to emersonuu.org, select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization. Thanks.
The young and young at heart for a story for all ages. So our story this morning, I have to admit, I laughed a little bit at the title. It's called The Cracked Pot, a story for anybody who is not quite perfect. A water bearer in India had 2 large pots, each hung on one end of a pole that she carried across the back of her neck. One of the pots had a crack in it. At the end of the very long walk from the stream to the house, the cracked pot arrived, only half full, while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water. For 2 years, this went on daily, with the water bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full of water to the house. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, perfect to the end for which it was made. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, the pot spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. "I am ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you." "Why?" asked the bearer. "What are you ashamed of?" "I have been able for these past 2 years to deliver only half my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your house. Because of my flaws, you have to do all this work of carrying the pots, and you don't get full value from our efforts," the pot said. The water bearer felt sorry for the cracked pot, and in her compassion, she said, "As we return to the house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path." Indeed, as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the beautiful wild flowers on the side of the path, and this cheered it some. But at the end of the trail, it still felt sad because it had leaked out half its load, and so again, the pot apologized to the bearer for its failures. The bearer said to the pot, "Did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I have always known about your flaw, and I thought of an idea. I planted flower seeds on our side of the path, and every day while we walk back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years, I have been able to pick beautiful flowers to decorate the house with. Without you being just the way you are, there would not have been this beauty to grace the house." Each of us has our own unique flaws. We're all cracked pots. But it's the cracks and flaws we have that make our lives together so very interesting and rewarding. We've just got to take each person for what they are and look for the good in them. The end. Are we all cracked pots? Indeed. Yes.
Knowledge and free.
Before I begin, I'd like to check with the AV team. What can I do by moving it closer or further away to help with that hum? Closer. Okay. How's that? Better. Okay. We've come to the time of prayer and meditation and reflection, and I invite you to settle in your chair. Feel the weight of our bodies being held up. I invite you to take a breath. This morning I will share a poem by Mary Oliver, followed by a prayer and a moment of silence. This poem is called Invitation. Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your very busy and important day, for the goldfinches that have gathered in the field of thistles? They gather for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest or the lowest of the most expressive of mirth or the most tender. Their strong, blunt beaks drink the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for the sheer delight and gratitude of singing. Believe us, they say, this is a serious thing. Just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." O Spirit of love and life that resides within each of us, we offer this prayer. When what we see and hear about over and over again around us is brokenness, we often forget to experience the beauty and love that surrounds us. Help us to remember to see and hear and touch life's magnificence. We pray to help us find ways to connect with what brings us peace and joy and love. We pray that in our busy lives we let the wonders of life change us. May this awareness be a moment of revolution, even if it is a quiet and personal one. May it be a radical invitation to be changed by love. May it be so. Amen. I meet with a spiritual advisor regularly. A Unitarian Universalist spiritual advisor is a person I can talk with about my life, my vocation, my dreams. It helps me process and understand my life experiences that have built me into who I am, my sense of self, and also my understanding of how my Unitarian Universalist theology is alive in me. And these discussions on a monthly basis are meaningful. I learned so much, and most importantly, they help me heal. Heal from those things that have been hard in my life, and I learned to make sense of them. Recently, I was asked to ponder this question. What do you need in your life in order to enter the next phase of your becoming? The question took my breath away, and the tears began to flow. I realized from deep within that this question, to be answered honestly, would bring a profound shift in my life. It became clear to me that my own emotional and theological work thus far has been structurally pushing away and disinviting that which has moored me in my past, rather than focusing on what I want to invite into my life. I loved that Michael sign for the song today about welcome was that same movement. I know that I want to invite more love into my life and make it the center of my being. And that means that I need to risk being more vulnerable. I know that I have created a stable, small circle of trusted friends who see me, know me, and care for me as I have shared with them my own imperfections. I am like that cracked pot. Sometimes I am embarrassed and even ashamed of not being able to live up to those ideals that I have thought I needed to be in my life. To widen the circle and bring in more love, I need to risk letting other people see me and my imperfections, and that is really scary. Joseph Campbell wrote that mythology tells us that where you stumble, there is your great treasure. It is where it seems most challenging that lies the greatest invitation to find deeper and greater power in ourselves. So to answer that question and that invitation to move closer to what I would like to become next, I've decided to accept the invitation to widen my circle, to have more people in it, and to lean into where it takes me. I can feel the nervousness in my belly, because I know that I'm on a precipice of change, of learning and taking uncomfortable risks. This invitation has led me to an awareness that I still have healing to do, and for insight about my deepening theological understanding of what it means to take risk. I have my own traumas that have been particular to my life. I know I carry them with me. They simply have become a part of my body. They have changed me, and I have molded myself around them to become who I am, to become the mother of my children that I am, to become the spouse to my partner, and even your minister. And sometimes when things happen, those traumas come up, and I know that they feel palpable in my present day, even though they were from my past. I have given them too much power. I have allowed them to limit who and what I let into the center of my life. I know I'm not alone in this experience. Each of us has experienced loss and confusion and often trauma to no fault of our own, and we carry them with us. We all mold our lives around them, and they live in us, and they continue to shape us in our lives. This is the human experience. So that question that day, that question that brought on tears, is an invitation. It's an invitation to be on a journey to risk inviting others and love to be the center of my life and to draw that circle wide. Would you like to join me in that journey? If you want to, and if you're ready, I welcome companions. So I ask you, what do you need to invite into your life to help you become? And what do you need to disinvite to make space for what's coming? Our shared UU faith can guide us forward on that journey because love is at the center of our faith. It is our highest value. And with love at the center of who we are and how we are together, we create beloved community. Love is the foundation of the shared covenant we have with each other. Here at Emerson, we create a covenant that is guided by our vision and our mission statements. The vision statement is to be a radically inclusive, open-minded, beloved community that is a vibrant source of peace and hope and healing. And our mission, the way we live out that vision, is to seek truths, to celebrate our differences, and to act on our Unitarian Universalist principles and inspire the best in us and serve the world. Implicitly, our shared covenant asks us to risk and trust each other. And as we do, we may be pushed beyond our comfort zone, because vulnerability is accepting risk, and sometimes accepting the possibility of harm and hurt and disappointment. This loss of control is sometimes ripe for the person who might have bad intentions, or someone who doesn't accept or even understand the boundaries that you have set. Writer Brené Brown has noted in both personal and communal settings we must open ourselves to relationships and trust to develop. We must offer our stories and affirm the other as a full human being. Reverend Michael Slack reflects, when our communications in our communities become strained, and it does at times, we are each asked to seek genuine conversation, to risk being vulnerable, and to stay in relationship even when it's hard. That way, we can say what we need and clarify what our boundaries are and find ways to hear each other. That covenant that we live in asks us to agree not to leave, to stay in community until a relationship can be reestablished. Our UU faith holds that genuine respect and worthiness and dignity of the other person is primary. And this put into the action is what the foundation of our covenants is. So here in this congregation, we are creating a space for us to risk and trust and be in relationship. Our UU faith invites us to put love in the center. I find solace in the work and writings of Reverend Rebecca Ann Parker, who describes this kind of love. This is not some kind of love that is sentimental love, she writes. Instead, it is a strong, fierce love. Not polite kindness, but profound respect and the willingness to be changed by our relationships with one another. Not mere tolerances of differences, but accountability for the character of our intentions. And for all this, she continues, we need the spiritual practices that strengthen our ability to know ourselves as beloved, to relate to another as a beloved, and to extend and reach of love in the ever-widening circles of embrace. As the choir sang, draw the circle wide, standing side by side, we are not alone. We need each other. I'm reminded that Carl Jung once said in a BBC interview that he began calling God all the things that cross my willful path violently and recklessly and change the course of my life for better or worse. The divine is that power which disrupts everything. So what is your practice? Were we to court a holy disruption? Like that question, when it came to me and I realized, I gotta change. We are invited to welcome in everything which challenges our perspectives on how the world works, which upsets all the plans I have for myself and turns them on their heads. What if, when life starts falling apart, I opened my heart to grief and fear and looked at them eye to eye and considered them holy guides? What if all the painful feelings of loss and disorientation were invited in given a seat at the table, offered some tea and tenderness, and asked, "What have you got to teach me?" What if everything that turns our preconceived ideas inside out and precisely where we find the holy itself? Reverend Sophia Betancourt is the president of our Unitarian Universalist Association at the moment. And she said something that was like a bolt of lightning to me recently. She said, even when our faith does not lay claim to one clearly delineated theological truth, we have inherited a deep theological tradition. And that tradition, from the Unitarians and the Universalists and Buddhism and Abrahamic religions and Mary Oliver poems, is that we place love at the center. And that is no small thing. The love that lives at the center of our faith is simply that love abides within beloved community. This is where we find solidarity and connection and care. Our freely made choice to participate in greater community can renew us and offer repair for the grief and the challenge that have been building in us in years. That love, that foundational love, restores us and helps us seek what we long for. We hold a love that is greater because it is between and among us, born from all the different ways that we see the holy. It is in itself what forms this community, and it insists that our future is possible even when within this community we err and falter and need reminders that we are constantly working to reach that ideal of our covenant. It's interesting, I was driving in today, and I've been writing this sermon for a while, and I kind of had an aha moment. I knew I didn't have time to get here and reprint the sermon and edit and move things around. But what was deep in my gut is that the religious language about salvation that I grew up with as a child made it seem like something that had to be mediated from far beyond, or maybe even that it had to come through a special person or thing or idea like God or a priest. And you know what? My salvation is something that I have always had a connection to because it is in my willingness to be in relationship with you. You and I together building beloved community offer an opportunity for love and change. That's pretty vulnerable. It asks us to risk and trust, and it means sometimes we get hurt. I know, though, in order to become me as I move forward into that dream of who I am yet to be, that I need you to be in relationship with me. and my work is to let you in. I trust that this beloved community will hold me as I stumble through that process. I ask for some grace. I look forward to being on this journey with you, because I know as I widen that circle, standing side by side with you, that I am not alone. If you're on this journey with me, let me know. I'd love a companion. I hope you'll join me. I'm going to close with these words from Reverend Scott Taylor. He says, "Go with faith, not the kind that moves mountains, but the quieter sort. The kind that asks you to take that first step, even when the whole staircase sits beyond your view. And as we move towards the unseen, may we notice that the way unfolds as we risk traveling it. And may we remember and trust that on this journey, we are never alone." Let us sing together our closing hymn. It's 1008, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. When our hearts are in a holy place. And that's the Teal book, if you want to look at the music.
As our chalice is extinguished this morning, we extinguish this chalice but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. So I was given one announcement to make, and that is that today is the last day to register for the cottage meetings. There is a link in the week notebook, this last week's notebook that came out. Please register. It's important that people participate in this. As our service ends, go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.